Hi everyone, Jennifer here. Do you find that sometimes in your parenting journey you tend to lose your dignity? We're going to talk about that in today's video. Okay, thanks for joining me today on the Daily Connoisseur. We're going to have a parenting chat today. This topic has been on my mind for a while, and something happened this morning that made me think, you know what, I have to shoot this video. So we're going to be talking about losing your dignity as a parent. Or on a more positive note, how to keep your dignity as a parent. Okay, every single parent on earth, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, has experienced the loss of dignity at some point in their parenting, especially with small children. Things can just get crazy and suddenly, you know, an event happens, something happens, and you're like, whoa, I just lost my dignity. In that situation. For those of you who don't know, we have 4 children, ages 8, 6, 2, and at the time I'm shooting this, around 3 months, almost 4 months. So yes, I've got a lot of little ones, and something happened this morning that just, now I can laugh, I can look back and laugh, but while it's happening, while you're in the process of losing your dignity, it's not very funny. Before I get into my story, let's talk about dignity. I looked up the definition of dignity. Dignity is a noun, and it says the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. Some definitions under that are a composed or serious manner of style, a sense of pride in oneself, or self-respect. Okay, so we all know what dignity is, but it's nice sometimes to look up the definitions, you know, just to really get in there. So honor, respect, self-respect, serious manner, these are all things that as adults we tend to value. We tend to value our honor, our self-respect, our dignity, basically. So when you're around little munchkins, little kids that just, you know, do crazy things, suddenly our dignity just goes out the window. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you my story about this morning. I was just eating breakfast, minding my own business. Okay, I made poached eggs on toast for everybody. Most of the children had already eaten. I was sitting down and just quietly minding my own business. I was having a cup of tea, poached egg on toast, and some fruit. The baby was sitting in the little carrier next to me, and my 2 daughters were playing in the living room. So my 2-year-old, who was much the source of me losing my dignity lately, behind my back, he got the pepper shaker, just gigantic pepper shaker from Costco, and he was running around the living room just shaking pepper all over the floor and just cackling. I mean, he was so happy. He was just doing this. And so I didn't realize what he was doing, and so I'm just minding my business, enjoying my poached egg on toast, and I realize what he's doing, and of course I don't want pepper all over my floor. We're all gonna be sneezing for about 2 weeks. So I bolt out of my chair and I'm running after him trying to grab the pepper. My mouth is full of poached egg on toast, and at the same time I'm yelling, stop, stop, stop. Just picture it. Picture this. So I'm yelling after him, I'm running, my mouth is full of food. I was enjoying my breakfast up until that point. I lost my dignity, okay? And I find often that when you lose your dignity, it's just when you're just trying to just do a basic thing as a parent. So, you know, when you become a parent, standards for what qualifies as a luxury really go down. So, you know, maybe before you're a parent, maybe going to the spa or doing something elevated like that could be a luxury. Well, when you're a parent, you know, using the bathroom without being interrupted is a luxury, or just being able to get through your breakfast without having to get up and take care of something else is a luxury. So I find that when these little luxuries, everyday, you know, things that we should just all naturally have, when they're interrupted, I tend to lose my dignity. So obviously I don't want to be running around the living room trying to swallow my breakfast while I'm simultaneously yelling at a toddler to stop sprinkling pepper on the floor. Okay, loss of dignity. Yeah, so when we're not able to complete basic human functions in peace, things like going to the bathroom or just getting ready for the day or having breakfast or any sort of meal, when that's interrupted, then we can tend to lose it. So some moments, like the pepper moment this morning, are unavoidable. So I could have either just slowly finished what I was eating and then, you know, slowly and calmly walked over to him and tried to somehow get the pepper, but by that point half the bottle would have been on the floor. So there are just moments where you just, you know, forget about the dignity, just go do what you have to do. We all have those moments where we've done something, we've behaved in a certain way, and then we regret it later as adults. So with children, what I find personally is when I lose my temper with them, I tend to also lose my dignity. Because when I lose my temper, then I either lash out, or I'll yell or shout, or I'll act like them. One way for a parent to avoid losing their dignity is to not act like the child is acting. So let's say you have a toddler or even an older child who's throwing a tantrum, and it's just the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back, and you are mad. For you to throw your own tantrum by yelling at them and causing a ruckus and maybe slamming a door or doing what you need to do, that doesn't help the situation at all. And we all inherently know this, but sometimes it just feels good to just act like a child again and have a tantrum. But afterward, you always regret it. You always feel like you lost your dignity. So here, I just want to analyze, and I have been working on this in my own life. How do you maintain your dignity when things like this happen? So mainly, I try not to lose my temper, and I always just try to pause before reacting to my children, especially if I'm angry. I pause, I take a break, I take a deep breath. If I need to go into the other room or not answer, I find that I don't lose my dignity. When I do this, I'm able to handle the situation. It's the knee-jerk reactions that allow us to lose our dignity. Okay, something that frequently happens to me, for example, is I will be in the upstairs bedroom feeding the baby, putting the baby to sleep, and then one of my children downstairs will need me. So they'll yell out, "Mom, Mom, Mom!" You know, it just gets louder and more frantic and louder. And I've told them before to just walk up the stairs and, just ask me, but they forget, and then they're yelling. And while this is happening, my anger is rising because I'm thinking, why can't they remember that I told them not to yell? Don't they know I'm putting the baby to sleep? It just goes on, and my anger is escalating. I can't yell because then I'm going to wake up the baby and lose my dignity, so I don't yell. And then they end up like bolting in and waking up the baby. So do you know what I mean? That it's like when those stress levels escalate. But in those moments, not yelling, not losing your dignity, super important, okay? When the child is having a fit or a tantrum, instead of just giving up and just yelling at them to stop, which, hello, I have done. I am not saying I don't do this, but I find that I'm doing it less and less, which is good because I'm aware of it. And when you do that, when you lose your temper and start yelling, you lose your dignity. So I try not to do that. I try when I'm angry and frustrated to, instead of yell, I try to speak in an even lower voice and a more calm voice. We've all experienced someone who has yelled, "Calm down!" And I have totally done that. I have yelled, "Calm down," in the most uncalm voice ever. So calm, that is one of my main words with dignity. I equate dignity with calmness, and I equate the loss of dignity with chaos. So I try to be calm. I try not to lose my cool. So that's what my suggestion to you is that when you feel your anger and frustration levels rising, to take note of that, to pause, to take a deep breath, and to remain calm as much as possible. And when tensions are high, when the children are running to me, tattletaling on each other because someone did something and they're angry, I just take a stance of being very present, being very aware, and just remaining calm. And I allow them to finish. I look at them with eye contact, and then I speak. And I find that my authority goes much farther when I do that than when I just lose my cool. Because we want our children to grow up to be dignified. We want them to be dignified as soon as possible. We don't want them acting like that when they're an adult, So we must not act like that ourselves. We have to be the good example for our children. I actually find another tip toward keeping one's dignity is just self-presentation. My motto from the Madame Chic books, look presentable always. Doesn't mean look perfect, doesn't mean look expensive. It means look presentable, whatever that means for you, for wherever you live or whatever stage in life you are. And I find that looking presentable every day helps me to maintain my dignity. So if you are in the habit of not getting dressed, let's say you're a housewife and you don't have to leave the house, so maybe you just stay in your pajamas a lot longer into the afternoon than you would like to. It's just about getting dressed and making yourself look presentable and feel presentable. You're more able to tackle the day. But if you feel stressed out, you're always in your yoga pants, you're always, your hair is never brushed because you just never got around to doing it, If you just take some time to just get yourself ready for the day, it doesn't have to be a long, complicated routine, that helps in maintaining dignity. Honestly, I just find it. And let me know if you find the same thing. I would love to hear from you in the comments below on all of this. So I just wanted to talk about that today because I thought, you know, this morning when I was running around with my mouth full of food, yelling at the same time to stop running and shaking the pepper all over the living room, I thought this is one of those moments where you just, you know, it can be hard. Parenting can be hard because, you know, your standards are so dropped, like I said, and you think, you know, is it too much to ask that I can just sit for maybe 5 minutes and enjoy a poached egg on toast without having to do this? But you know, the thing is, you have to have a sense of humor about it. It's not going to be like that forever. One day your little 2-year-old is going to be, you know, 22, and hopefully he won't be shaking pepper on the floor while you're trying to have breakfast. So just, you know, have a sense of humor about it. Try to remain calm and not lose your dignity, because if you're that example for them, they will behave like you do, basically. So this is a reminder video for myself, as well as just, I wanted to discuss this with you. I know we have many seasoned parents here, so please leave your comments below. I would love to hear from you. How do you avoid losing your dignity? Or do you have trouble with this? Do you constantly lose your dignity? Do you find that you've yelled so hard that your throat hurts? You know, I've done that before. I'm coming here from experience. How do we maintain dignity and poise throughout parenting? Also, I just wanted to quickly add that when you practice dignity at home and having poise at home, when you're out in public and your child does something that, you know, is embarrassing or whatever it is, you're less likely to lose your dignity out in public as well, because it'll just come more naturally to you. You'll be able to handle situations with calm and with ease rather than losing your cool, basically. So that's it for today's parenting chat. I would love to hear from you. How do you avoid losing your dignity? Or do you have trouble with this area? Do you frequently lose your dignity and you want more tips on this subject? Let us know, and your comment could be chosen as comment of the week on the Daily Connoisseur. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!